A strong mind isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, and it can change. Have you ever watched a tree in the middle of a storm? The wind may shake its branches, bend its trunk, and toss its leaves in every direction. But if its roots run deep, it does not fall. Some people are like that. Life comes at them hard, with pain, uncertainty, and chaos, yet they do not collapse. They bend, but they do not break. They breathe through the storm and remain standing. What gives them this quiet strength? It's not talent. It's not how much they know or how lucky they've been. It's something more sacred, something cultivated from within. It's the strength of the mind. Mental resilience is not loud. It does not shout. But in silence, it protects. It steadies the heart when emotions rise like waves. It keeps you grounded when the world pulls at you from every direction. And most importantly, it allows you to walk through suffering without becoming it. In Buddhism, this strength is not a mysterious force. It's a discipline of awareness, compassion, and clarity. But here's what often goes unnoticed. Mental strength isn't only built through what we do, it is also quietly destroyed by what we repeat. In this video, we'll explore 6 surprising habits that silently weaken your mind. These habits are so common, so subtle, that we often don't realize how deeply they are shaping our lives. Through Buddhist teachings, we'll learn how to recognize these patterns, let them go, and begin to rebuild a mind that is calm, focused, and truly unshakable. And stay with me, because the final lesson may just be the one that unlocks everything. It holds a key to a kind of freedom and peace you may not have known was possible. If you've ever felt trapped by negativity, burdened by self-doubt, or stuck in the weight of your past, this journey is for you. Together, we will not just learn how to endure life, we will learn how to transform the way we experience it. Are you ready to take the first step toward a steadier, stronger mind? Let's begin. Habit 1. Releasing the weight of a negative mind. Imagine walking through the world wearing a veil of shadow, not because the world is dark, but because the lens through which you see it has been clouded. A blooming flower loses its color. A smile feels distant. Joy becomes something you view from behind glass. This is the quiet toll of a negative mindset. It doesn't shout, yet it shapes every moment, turning possibility into hesitation and beauty into burden. In the teachings of the Buddha, the mind is compared to a mirror, naturally clear and luminous. But when we allow anger, doubt, or despair to settle upon it, that clarity fades. The mirror doesn't break. It merely waits to be cleaned. Thoughts, like clouds in the sky, are not permanent. They pass, shift, and dissolve. The danger lies not in having a negative thought, but in believing it is who you are. To release this weight, one of the most compassionate practices is metta bhavana, or loving-kindness meditation. You begin by offering gentle wishes to yourself. May I be peaceful, may I be well. Then, like ripples moving outward, you extend that kindness to others, a loved one, a stranger, even someone who has caused you pain. This isn't weakness. It's the quiet strength of a mind choosing healing over hatred. The modern world floods us with reasons to be cynical. News cycles echo suffering. Social spaces spread comparison, and our inner dialogue often turns harsh. But ask yourself, does holding on to this heaviness ease your path or weigh you down? Buddhism teaches impermanence not as a theory, but as a truth we live. Everything, joy, sorrow, triumph, loss, is in motion. Even your darkest thoughts are just visitors. They are not your identity. So when the mind begins to spiral, pause, observe. Don't resist the thought. Greet it with awareness and gently ask, what is still good in this moment? It might be the softness of morning light, the rhythm of your breath, or a single kind memory. These small recognitions are not escapes. They are anchors, helping you return to the present with clarity. Letting go of negativity is not a denial of life's pain. It is an act of deep honesty, choosing to see things clearly rather than through a filter of fear. A calm mind does not ignore suffering, it transforms it. When you release the stories that bind you, you make space for wisdom to rise. Like a sky that clears after a storm, the mind reveals its true nature only when the clouds are allowed to pass. Habit 2. Surrender the habit of complaining about what you cannot control. Picture yourself holding a burning coal, convinced it will harm someone else. Yet with every passing second, it's your own hand that is scorched. This is the nature of complaint. When we grumble about things beyond our reach, be it the weather, the past, or the actions of others, we are the ones who suffer most. It seems so natural to resist, to push back against the tide. But this resistance is what drains our spirit and entangles the mind in needless pain. In Buddhist philosophy, true strength begins with acceptance, not in giving up, but in choosing to stop battling what cannot be changed. The Buddha once compared life's difficulties to 2 arrows. The first arrow is the hardship itself, a delay, a disappointment, a loss. The second arrow is the suffering we add through our reaction. We may not choose the first, but the second is entirely ours to lay down. Complaining, then, is like firing that second arrow into our own heart, again and again. Imagine a rainy day. You can shout at the sky, blame the clouds, wish for sunshine, or you can quietly unfold your umbrella, walk slower, and let the sound of the rain become your teacher. Acceptance does not mean you enjoy every storm. It means you don't waste your peace resisting the weather. The world will not always shape itself around your wishes, but your mind can shape itself around the truth. So much of our modern frustration stems from this single habit, focusing on what we cannot move. We blame, we resist, we get stuck in cycles of mental noise. But what if, instead of tightening the knot, we slowly began to loosen it? Close your eyes and picture your challenge as a tangle of rope. Complaining pulls the strands tighter. Patience and clarity begin to loosen it, one breath at a time. When life places you in moments beyond your control, traffic jams, long queues, changed plans, use them as your practice ground. Sit quietly and repeat inwardly, "I release what I cannot change." Let these words soften your grip. Let them become your refuge. This practice is not weakness, it is wisdom in motion. True mental strength lies not in forcing the world to comply, but in responding to it with awareness. When you stop pouring your energy into resistance, you reclaim that energy for peace, for creativity, for joy. You begin to see that even the moments you once cursed may carry hidden blessings. A pause you needed, a lesson you missed, a shift in your path. To let go of complaint is to release the burning coal, not because the world has changed, but because you have. In that release, healing begins. Habit 3. Speak with the courage of your true self. Within each of us lies a quiet treasure, a voice, a feeling, a truth waiting to be known. Yet so often, this treasure remains buried beneath silence, masked by politeness, fear, or the desire to fit in. Suppressing your truth may seem like a form of protection, but over time, it becomes a burden, a hidden weight that clouds the mind and strains the heart. Imagine a chest of radiant jewels locked away in darkness. Without light, their beauty remains unseen. This is what happens when you hold back your authentic self. In Buddhist teaching, there is a path called right speech, a practice not just of talking, but of speaking with awareness. To express yourself with truth, kindness, and purpose is not merely about being honest, it is about being whole. Holding back emotions may help you avoid discomfort in the moment, but it quietly erodes your peace. Just like a volcano that simmers beneath the surface, silence can eventually erupt, unpredictable and painful. Mental strength begins with the willingness to meet your inner world fully. Begin by listening, not to others, but to yourself. What is rising in your heart right now? What truth have you ignored, softened, or silenced? The act of writing down your emotions, even in solitude, can be profoundly healing. With each word, you allow the fog of confusion to lift. Journaling is not about crafting perfect sentences. It is about offering your mind a space to breathe. Then, when it comes time to share your voice with others, pause. Ask, are my words rooted in compassion? Are they true? Will they bring understanding or harm? This is the mindfulness of speech, not self-censorship, but self-awareness. It turns ordinary conversation into a bridge rather than a wall. And in moments of genuine expression, you may find that what you feared would push people away actually draws them closer. In the digital world, it's easy to become a version of yourself that others expect. Curated, polished, safe. But behind the screens and the smiles, there is a longing to be seen, to be real. One sincere message, one honest conversation, can touch a life in ways you may never fully know. Vulnerability, when expressed with care, is a gift, not a weakness. You may feel exposed at first. You may fear being misunderstood. But to speak your truth with kindness is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are not responsible for how others receive your honesty, only for whether you offer it with integrity. As the Buddha taught, words are like seeds. Planted with love, they grow into forests of understanding, into gardens of trust. To express yourself authentically is to walk in your own rhythm. It is to honor your thoughts, not as flaws to be hidden, but as expressions of your sacred humanity. When you open the chest of your inner voice, you don't just find clarity, you find connection, healing, and the courage to live fully awake. Lesson 4. The freedom in owning your path. Visualize this. You're walking uphill, but strapped to your back is a sack of stones, each one a story of blame, a moment where you pointed a finger instead of looking inward. Every step becomes heavier, not because the hill is steep, but because of what you carry. This is what happens when we cling to blame. Our journey slows, and our strength diminishes. Buddhist wisdom speaks to this directly through the law of karma, not as punishment or reward, but as a mirror reflecting the energy we put into the world. It teaches us that our actions, not the actions of others, shape the landscape of our lives. When we hold others responsible for our pain, we unknowingly surrender our agency. It's like saying, I am stuck because they built the wall, rather than asking, how can I climb it, move around it, or build a door through it? Blame feels like a release in the moment, a place to direct discomfort. But this release is deceptive. It anchors us in the past, traps us in resentment, and starves us of growth. The real strength lies in ownership, not in self-blame, but in honest reflection. When we say, this is where I am, and here's what I can do about it, we ignite the inner spark that leads to transformation. Let's bring this to life. Think of someone who hurt you, someone you've mentally blamed again and again. That person, in Buddhist imagery, is a stone in your backpack. You carry their actions with you everywhere, whether they know it or not. Forgiveness, then, is not about letting them off the hook. It's about releasing yourself from the burden. Imagine setting that stone down. How much lighter would you feel? Owning your journey doesn't mean pretending every wrong was right. It means asking, what now? What can I learn from this? What can I do to respond with wisdom instead of reaction? Even a simple shift, communicating more clearly, setting healthy boundaries, or choosing patience over anger, pulls you out of the victim narrative and places you back at the center of your own story. In the age of quick posts and constant noise, it's easier than ever to project our pain outward. But real courage lies in turning inward. Buddhist thought encourages self-responsibility, not to shame us, but to free us. When we become responsible for how we respond, we're no longer tied to someone else's behavior or to circumstances outside our control. Life will always have storms. That's inevitable. But whether we sink, drift, or sail, that is the part we write. When you let go of blame and take the wheel, you reclaim the power to steer through the chaos. You become the quiet force, unshaken by waves, guided by awareness, and strengthened by the steady rhythm of your own intentional choices. Lesson 5. Transform imagination into purposeful vision. Have you ever found yourself lost in a daydream, picturing a perfect future, success falling into your lap, happiness unfolding without effort? It's a comforting escape. Like drawing pictures in the sky, these fantasies offer temporary joy. But just like clouds, they drift and dissolve, leaving nothing you can hold on to. This is the trap of fantasizing. It keeps you floating instead of moving forward. In contrast, true mental strength lies in the ability to visualize, not just what you want, but the path you'll take to get there. Buddhist teachings emphasize right intention, a principle that reminds us to align our goals with meaningful actions. Fantasies can often be sweet illusions, built on wishful thinking. Visualization, however, is rooted in reality. It's an act of mindfulness, of seeing clearly, not just dreaming freely. Think of someone who longs to become a musician. They spend hours imagining sold-out concerts, applause, and fame, but they rarely pick up the instrument. Fantasizing gives them a sense of progress without the effort. Visualization, on the other hand, means seeing themselves in the quiet room, practicing scales late at night, struggling and improving. It means imagining the feel of the strings under their fingers, the mistakes, the perseverance, not just the applause. In our modern world, where curated images and overnight success stories flood our screens, it's easy to confuse dreams with direction. But visualization asks you to sit with your goal and ask, what does this actually require of me? Instead of drifting into fantasy, it grounds you in clarity and action. Start by being specific. If you want to grow stronger, in body, mind, or spirit, what would that look like today, tomorrow, next week? See yourself doing the work. Visualize each small win. Write your goals down, break them into steps, and mentally walk through each one with your full attention. This isn't just planning, it's preparing your mind to show up when it matters. Buddhism also teaches the ever-changing nature of life. Visualization respects that impermanence. It teaches you to adapt, to see the journey not as a rigid line, but as a flowing river. If a stone appears in your path, you find a way around it. You don't stop. You move with the current. Where fantasizing leaves you waiting for life to happen, visualization invites you to meet life where it is. It replaces helpless longing with empowered action. It transforms vague dreams into focused determination. So the next time your mind starts to wander into castles in the clouds, bring it gently back to earth. See the foundation, lay the bricks, imagine the effort, and then take the step. This is how you don't just dream your life, but live it fully and fearlessly. Habit 6. Cultivate deep connections, not just contacts. Think of a quiet garden, once blooming with color and life, but over time, it's left untended. No water, no care, no sunlight. Slowly, it wilts, not because it lacked beauty, but because it was forgotten. This is the nature of our relationships. They don't fall apart all at once. They fade when we stop showing up. True mental strength isn't built in isolation. It flourishes when we nurture the bonds that give us warmth, understanding, and grounding. In Buddhist thought, being fully present is not a casual suggestion. It is a path to awakening. It means showing up in heart and mind, not just in body. In today's age of constant scrolling and fleeting attention, offering someone your full presence is a profound act of love. It says, "You matter. I'm here." Think back to a moment when someone truly listened to you. No distractions, no judgment. That feeling of being seen can be more healing than any advice. Real connection doesn't require grand gestures. It's found in quiet spaces, sharing a laugh, asking how someone's really doing, remembering something they mentioned in passing. These small acts, when done with mindfulness and care, become the glue that holds us steady in life's chaos. Buddhism teaches that every interaction is an opportunity to practice compassion and awareness. When we do so, with intention, we're not just supporting others, we're strengthening our own emotional core. we've mistaken digital closeness for emotional intimacy. The number of likes or messages can't replace a heart-to-heart conversation or the comfort of shared silence. Despite being more connected than ever, loneliness is quietly growing. That's because quantity never replaces quality. What matters most are the few people you can truly lean on, the ones who anchor you when everything else feels uncertain. The impermanence of life, a core truth in Buddhism, invites us to hold our relationships tenderly. One day, the people we love will only live in our memories, not as a source of fear, but as a gentle reminder to appreciate them now. Say the kind words, forgive more often, make time for that call, that walk, that cup of tea. Presence is a gift we can offer every day, and once it's gone, we often wish we had given more. Mental strength doesn't come from stoic independence. It's forged in vulnerability, in letting others in, and in creating spaces of trust and care. Our loved ones reflect back to us the parts we forget, the strength in our voice, the light in our eyes, the purpose behind our pain. Like a thriving garden, relationships require tending, but when we care for them with presence and sincerity, they don't just survive, they become sanctuaries of healing and power. Bonus habit: let failure become your fire, not your fear. Picture a quiet mountainside where a wildfire once raged, the trees charred, the soil scorched. At first glance, all seems lost, but seasons pass, and from that very ground, new shoots begin to rise, stronger, greener, more resilient than before. Nature doesn't mourn the fire, it transforms because of it. This is how failure must live in your life, not as destruction, but as the fire that awakens your potential. The bonus habit for becoming mentally strong is this: let failure refine you, not define you. In Buddhist philosophy, there's no such thing as a wasted experience. Everything, joy, sorrow, gain, loss, is part of your awakening. Life is not linear. It spirals. It circles back. What seems like a mistake might be the exact pressure you needed to grow. Yet in the modern world, we are taught to avoid failure at all costs. We mask it, hide it, or bury it beneath a curated image. But in doing so, we bury the very thing that holds our wisdom. Think of the potter's clay. Each time it collapses on the wheel, the potter doesn't discard it. They reshape it, again and again, until it becomes art. Likewise, failure isn't a signal to stop. It's an invitation to start again, but wiser. Mental strength is forged, not in comfort, but in challenge. True resilience isn't about never falling. It's about learning how to fall, how to soften into the ground, and how to rise with something new in your heart. So how do you embody this? Start by shifting your inner dialogue. When failure comes, and it will, pause. Don't react. Don't rush to fix or flee. Breathe. Ask, what is this here to teach me? What story was I telling myself that this moment is now asking me to rewrite? Next, replace shame with compassion. Buddhism teaches us to meet pain not with judgment, but with awareness. Treat yourself like a wounded friend, gently, kindly, without blame. And then, reflect. Write down what you've learned, even if it's just one small truth. Did you discover a weakness to work on? A false belief to let go of? A new strength you didn't know you had? These are the gifts that only failure can deliver. Over time, you'll begin to see that the most powerful versions of yourself were not born from ease, but from the ashes of what didn't go as planned. Just like a forest needs fire to clear space for new life, you too need the fires of failure to burn away illusion and reveal clarity. So don't fear your failures. Befriend them. Let them stretch you. Let them strip away the false. Let them guide you home, to your most unshakable self. Because in the end, it's not the absence of failure that defines mental strength. It's the courage to transform it into fuel for growth, again and again. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate, one mindful habit at a time. in a world that often encourages noise.